welcome to Bitches of Horror. Today we are interviewing Heather Markham. And we also have
Jasmine.
Yeah.
And we have Heather here today, who is a writer, director, promoter, podcaster, everything.
Well, you name it.
A big horror fan.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I got started in horror when I was really young. My parents were quite liberal when it came to watching horror movies, so that was something that was always prevalent in my life. And I started getting into doing special effects makeup when I was younger, and then I started my own company called Creepy Creatures Incorporated back in 2011.
Wow.
I started working on some movies doing that, acting, and everything's just kept going. It's kind of crazy. I ended up doing another podcast, and I really fell in love doing it. I got to really get to know some really amazing people, and I'm really grateful for that. And after I left that podcast, I started Raw, which is Raw Independent Horror, which is it's a Facebook page, but it is for actors, directors, producers, horror authors, you name it, anybody in the industry, to be able to go on and promote anything that they have going on, any projects, for actors to put up their reels, basically as a community for us to be able to come together and create great art. And that's what horror is. You know, we can look out into the world and see horror all over the place. And I see going and watching a horror movie as an escape from that.
Mm.
So right now I am working with Kevin Walters, which I'm super happy. Just adore him. And he is putting out a movie called Rat Tower next year. And as part of the collaboration, I am doing a short called No Zone. So
tell us a little bit more about No Zone.
No Zone's great. I love it. I really enjoy doing kind of tongue-in-cheek type of comedy horror type of movies, and this one is definitely that type of thing. It's basically like an extended commercial where only the top 1% can afford this sunscreen called No Zone because we have depleted our entire ozone. So you get to see lots of people that are orange and somebody with a red baseball hat. And there's going to be some exploding bodies and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. What's your part in it? Like, and I know you.
I wrote it. It's actually really funny. I woke up one morning. I have no idea what happened, but it just popped in my head. And I just started writing. And then as soon as I got done writing, I sent it over to my friend, Gabrielle Kapaski. She actually, I met her when I was doing the last podcast I was on. She was a producer for Spiderlings, which is a trauma film. And I love me some trauma.
We all do.
I know. Actually, Lloyd and Gabriella are going to be my first two guests on my new podcast. So I'm super excited about it. Both of them, I respect them both so much, and they've both been huge mentors in my life. But Gabriella, and she's actually working on a part in Rat Tower also. So we're all doing this. But yeah, she's amazing, and totally forgot where I was going with this.
No, it sounds really cool. But like, since it is like
Yeah.
an environment sort of film, is it an
Yeah.
important issue to you, or is it just something random
It
that popped
is.
into your head?
It's, I live in the South now, and it's a lot different. I'm from Chicago. I lived in Minneapolis for a long, long time, and now I live in the South, and it's a whole new world down here for me. Um, I love it. It's definitely, it's so beautiful here. I do really love it. I love New Orleans. Um, but I see a lot of issues that could be addressed here. From abject poverty to people having to drive over 20 minutes just to get to an emergency room.
Yeah.
So I see where there's even restaurants where they're doing extremely well, but they only pay their servers $2.13 an hour plus tips.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But if they don't make that much in tips to equal minimum wage, then the company has to pay them at, minimum wage, which is still horrible.
Yeah, it's weird.
Still
Like,
horrible.
I mean, I used to live in the States, and but I lived in Camden in New Jersey, which is also a really bad area. But it's so different from like Sweden, because you would never be allowed to get paid that, that amount of money. And your minimum wage, you have to have that. And then tips, that's just like an extra bonus thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's horrible.
I just actually interviewed director Jonas Walcher, who
Oh,
lives
yeah.
love Jonas. He and I have known each other for probably going on a year now, and I just adore him. He's great.
Yeah,
He's absolutely great.
Yeah, it is.
He's a big Viking.
Yeah. Did you interview him for your podcast?
Yes. He's going to be a guest on my podcast. I haven't quite figured out which one we're going to do it, and we might end up having to re-record it because when we did the podcast, I was coming off of being incredibly sick. So it sounded like I had been gargling razor blades.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be a great party.
Creepy feeling, yeah.
Yeah. Look what I can do. Hey. You thought this was fake blood.
But, yeah.
So do you have one podcast, or do you have more of them going on?
Oh God, I couldn't handle that. No. I've got so much on my plate right now that I couldn't handle doing more. This one, it's going to be called Mama Creepy's Corner. I've been known as Mama Creepy for, well, I think I kind of got the nickname back in 2011. It just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And has followed me. And it's the one nickname I'm probably the most okay with. So it kind of suits me. It's my alter ego.
Yeah.
And so it's the title of my podcast is going to be Mama Creepy's Corner. Mm-hmm. And part of doing this podcast is that it's not just going to be men on every single episode. Like, it's not going to be a bunch of white men on every single episode. There are a lot of people out there that work on movies in the horror industry that should be represented. And so I have at least one woman or someone from the LGBTQ community on there, everything. I want somebody else to be represented also because I find it very important, because I don't think it's shown enough in those people make a huge difference in
definitely.
our community.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I think that's for us as well. I mean, we've been a little bit bad with it recently, but one of the reasons we started Bitches of Horror, not only because we love horror, but because we wanted to bring forth indie filmmakers and also the female filmmakers, because there's so many female filmmakers, and they shouldn't even be a word for, female filmmakers, but they need to be put out there because people don't shed enough light on them.
Yeah, Debbie Rochon is actually doing her sophomore film right now. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it right now. But her first one she did was fantastic. And also Trauma.
Yeah.
And it's like secular. It all ends up back at Trauma,
Yeah, everything's connected to trauma somehow.
It is, and it's funny because you look at like everything going on with like James Gunn right now. James Gunn got his start with Trauma. He did Romeo and Juliet. Eli Roth worked with Trauma. Samuel L. Jackson, Trauma.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yep. It goes on and on and on. Trauma's been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
And, if you're looking to learn how to make a movie, not quite expect to get paid necessarily or imagine making $1 million. But if you want to learn how to make a movie, that's what Trauma's there for. And they, I remember being young and watching Toxic Avenger and just falling in love. I loved that movie. And even right now, Lloyd Kaufman just finished wrapping on his newest film, Shakespeare's Shitstorm.
He always has the best titles.
Oh, I know. They're great. They're absolutely great. And I can't wait to see this because Lloyd is a woman also in this. So I'm extra excited to see that. And he's also touring right now. He's going around showing Return to Newcomb High Volume 2. Yeah. So he's trying to find people who want to show it at theaters. And he's asking fans, hey, you want to show it at a theater in your town? Get to him.
Yeah.
I'll come down. We'll do a Q&A, that sort of thing. He's very generous and very nice guy.
That's really what I like about him, because he's really down to earth. I mean, he's still like a really, really famous in the horror community, but he's still, he's just like he's a god, but he's a normal guy,
And he interacts with the fans very, very much, and he loves his fans. You can tell. Yeah.
I enjoy playing the Where's Waldo version of Where's Lloyd, because all of a sudden you'll see Lloyd pop up in a random movie, and going back to James Gunn when he did the first Guardians of the Galaxy, all of a sudden you'll see the prison riot break out, and there's Lloyd Kaufman. It's just randomly I'll be watching a movie and I'm like Lloyd Kaufman was in Rocky.
Really? Is he in the audience or something?
No. He actually has part in Rocky.
I need to watch it. It's been a while.
I know. He's kind of like Where's Waldo in movies. So, it's just I'm super grateful to have gotten to meet with him or not physically meet with him, but to have talked with him. He's a huge influence. If you want to learn how to brand yourself, if you want to learn how to do marketing and promotion, he is the man when it comes to that. He knows his shit. Just paying attention to him. You'll be having a conversation with him and he'll be like, oh, by the way, did you know that I have this movie, or this movie's coming out soon? and it's great. So,
So talking about promotion, you have your raw independent horror. Like, did you have what was your reason for starting it? Was there like a goal, or was it just something you wanted to
I
like
really
live on, or?
no, not at all. I did it for free because I want to give back to the horror community what has been given to me so generously by the horror community. I really do believe in like that whole karma thing, you know, and being able to reach out because there's so many people out there in the community that don't know where to go to meet other people, to network. And I was at a place where emotionally I wasn't doing very good.
Mm.
And I needed to do something positive. And I had been told that there's no way I was going to do anything in horror ever again. And I said, screw that shit.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that shit. So I started up Raw. And there has been people who have put up their reels. And I have made, between that and, God help me, Twitter. I never thought I'd say I'm on Twitter all the time. You know, but I've been able to meet so many people, and so many people like promote their film festivals, you know, or any kind of like conventions, things like that. There's authors that are able to put their things up, and I'm pretty liberal when it comes to what people want to put up there, because even if, you know, okay, you did one horror movie or you're working on a short, but the rest of your career has been like, say, comedy or something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care. You know, we all, if you want to do something in horror, get out there and do it. You know, you shouldn't just sit around. And I think that's something that Steven Spielberg had talked about, was just to, if you want to make a movie, just make a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Just do it. No matter what you have, like no budget or no crew, just do something. Pick up your phone and just, you know.
I just realized that I stole that from Jamie Kennedy. Holy crap. Because I've been listening to his podcast, which is a great podcast. Love his podcast.
I've heard of him for ages.
Oh my God.
I have to check that podcast out.
You have to check out the movies he's been making lately. He has been making some disturbing, his characters that he's been playing are absolutely disturbing. Buddy Hutchins is one that just right off the top of my head. And that one and Foreclosed. I watched those and I was just like, this isn't Malibu's Most Wanted.
No.
You know? This is so far from Randy and Scream.
Yeah, I just had a Scream marathon today with all the 4 movies.
Did you?
Yeah, just before doing this interview.
Guys. Oh.
Me too. And I had such a crush on him. Like when I saw the first Scream movie when I was like 12. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's my dream guy. Like
knows the rules.
Yeah, and he works in that like video shop. He could get me videos. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been listening to all of his podcasts, and it just totally dawned on me. I'm like, I was just listening to his podcast, and he had said that same thing. So, Amy, if you hear that, I apologize for stealing that from you.
We're just paying it for, passing it on to the next.
Passing it on. Yeah. Steven Spielberg passed it on to you. You passed it on to me.
Yeah. Sounds like an STD.
Yeah.
A good one.
Spielberg STD.
Yeah. So, and you said that you were really liberal with or your parents were liberal with your horror fascination, but when did it start? And how did it start?
Like, was there some sort of film that kicked it off, or was it something else?
Well, let's see. My mom and my stepdad were my stepdad mostly. My mom just kind of was like, I don't know, I guess so. But when my mom got remarried, my stepdad loved Halloween. My mother's very hippie, or she was very much a hippie. And so we would go around on Halloween, go to her friends' houses and get apples and fruit and then have to go to school the next day. And everybody's like, so what did you get? Got a banana, a pencil, and a couple, whatever, And then enters my stepdad, and he's got masks that he wears and a trench coat, and he goes out trick-or-treating with us to the good houses that have the candy, and he's all about scaring kids when he's like walking around, and it was just the best. I remember Gremlins scaring the crap out of me when I was a kid. Gremlins, still to this day, I rewatch it and I'm like, I can't believe that had a PG rating.
Oh yeah, it's weird because I've been like thinking that should be my daughter's first horror film, but I'm like, when is it okay to watch it? Like, it's still pretty scary.
Yeah, it's still pretty scary, that and Halloween, The Exorcist.
Oh yeah, that was my
Friday
first.
the 13th.
Yeah, Halloween was my first 6 years old.
Still creeps me out. For a while, my family, we lived in Evergreen, Colorado, and we actually lived up on Mount Evans, and we lived in an A-frame where one whole side of the A-frame was glass, and it looked out over the mountains. It was just beautiful. But I can remember sitting there, like up in the middle of nowhere, and we were watching Friday the 13th, and I loved it. I was so scared, but it was amazing. And I remember watching, I think, a lot of the special effects stuff. What really got to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched The Thing, that's really, I got interested in making special effects, doing special effects. And I don't know many people that do special effects that don't say that movie is something that inspired them to get into it. So, so my family was very liberal about letting us watch those. So,
I mean, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it turned out pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it really did. And, and I really do believe, like, because I have people that ask me, why horror? Why would you want to do horror? Or why wouldn't you, want to make funny movies? Or I'm like, have you seen some of these movies? Seriously, I laugh all the time.
Yeah, you can do so much with horror. You can mix it with so much. You can have drama, you can have comedy, action, or,
Yeah. There's so many different ways, and there's no boundaries with it. There just aren't boundaries. And I really love seeing when people take on something that's fresh and new. In the last year, we actually started seeing some new zombie movies, like Train to Busan and The Girl with All the Gifts.
Yeah.
It was so nice. Ugh. I was so sick of watching the same zombie movie over and over and over. And out this comes, or those movies came out, and it was so refreshing. I'm like, oh, I can love zombies again.
Yeah.
And then there's just been so many original ideas that have been coming out. We had Death House come out, which that was huge Death House is huge. I mean, I know some people don't like using the expression, but it really is the Expendables of horror. It's got pretty much everybody in it. Yeah. You know, and it's got a beautiful story behind how it was made and how it was written. You know, and I think Harrison did just an amazing job, you know, finishing it up and directing it. And Lloyd Kaufman's also in there too.
Of course.
You should make like a Wikipedia thing for him and like everything he's been in, because he's not credited in most of them, is he?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually gone on and looked.
Checked.
Even Gabriella Kapsaski, the movie she had done, Spiderlings, he makes a guest appearance in that too. So I think at some point I'd really like to make it a goal to have him make some kind of appearance, like just walking through the background or something like that, something weird, you know, in just some random Hawaiian shirt or I don't know, something weird, and it's like, oh, there's Lloyd again.
When you've done that, you know you've succeeded. That's like the tip of the mountain.
That's right.
Get Lloyd walking by and you film.
Yeah. The trauma blessing of Lloyd, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then I don't know if you guys have seen Mandy yet.
And we will on Wednesday. On
Wednesday it comes out here.
Oh, really?
It's we have a horror film festival next week, and it's like the opening film for it. So it's on VOD and stuff.
I'm not going to give out any.
But we didn't give out
spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's probably one of the best horror movies I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, it's weird. So, you always make fun of Nicolas Cage a little bit.
Oh,
I mean, I love him, but you're like, is it going to be good? But then, like, everyone's like, oh, man, he's amazing. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love the colors of it. And
yeah, they're amazing.
And Cage Rage.
Yeah.
Cage Rage. Yeah. I think the last two horror movies that he, like counting this one, when he did Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
That was great. I thought he was great in that too.
Yeah, I thought he was amazing in that one. And if he's even better in Mandy, then I will love it.
Oh, you...
We don't even know.
Yeah, you don't even know. I had rented it on Amazon, and I ended up renting it again. Like, I rented it twice. I'm like, I should just buy this thing. But it was just so good. I just kept watching it over and over. So it was really great.
It feels like horror is like kind of reviving itself at the moment. We had quite a dip there for a few years, but
yeah, that was
But I think it also has to do with like sort of indie films kind of becoming bigger and Kickstarter, being able to actually fund a good idea and stuff like that, which is, upped the production value of so much.
Yeah, there's so many films are just rehashed. And it's like, I really don't want to see that again. It's the same story. Yes, you have different people in it, but you're basically doing the same story, or you're just doing a remake. Suspiria, though.
That being said, I was about to say that I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. A girl I went to high school with, she's big in the horror community too. She went to a convention, I believe, and she has seen it. And she said it's one of the best movies she's ever seen. So, yeah.
Sarah's skeptical because it's like her favorite.
It's my favorite film ever, like ever. So I won't say anything until I've seen it. So yeah.
Well, I did hear. God, who was it? Somebody in the when they were making it actually had a breakdown and had to start going and having therapy while they were making.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, all right, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so
good sign.
So, like, in the horror community, since you've, like, built this, I mean, there's the horror community, but then you built this, like, I don't know, like, the raw independent horror page where people can come and promote their stuff. But, like, what do you think is the best and worst with the horror community and fans?
The best and worst, I think that trying to, a lot of the bigger movie companies, they'll try and take the great indie movies and they'll give you a lot of money for them, but then you're under their expectations.
Yeah.
Which, this is your art, this is your baby, and you shouldn't have to change it or censor it. We shouldn't have to do that. I think that one of the best things about the horror community is the fans and how amazing the actors and actresses are in the community, going out, doing conventions. I can't even imagine doing, like, running all, like, doing the gamut of going around and doing all the conventions. It's crazy what their schedules are like. But they take their time and they sit there and smile and make sure that every single one of those people, feel, okay, there's a few. Everybody has a couple.
Yeah.
I think everybody pretty much probably has a story that's, that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
And I know personally, I know which people to go see on the first day, not on the last day.
Yeah.
They're much cheaper.
I mean, there are some people who actually, like, love it. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm in Sweden we don't get too many people, but we have gotten Robert Englund. I mean, one of the reasons is also because he has Swedish descent, but I think he's just a really great guy. I've never heard anything bad about him, and he's just always happy and, talking to you like you're his friend. He's just like
making you feeling special.
Yeah. I'm sitting there shitting myself like, it's Freddie.
Freddie made me feel special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also talking about the worst thing, we went to Fright Fest in Glasgow a few years ago, and we got to see The Other Side of the Door. And that film was not very good. I mean, it had its points, but it was pretty bad. And then when the director was talking about it, he was telling us, like, how he had to, like, cut out everything that he wanted because the production company wouldn't let him have it. And it was such a shame because it had a really good myth behind it. Like, it was using, like, Hindu myths. And it just got destroyed because this production company wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do.
Yep. And it's really sad. It's really sad. I think since there's been, like, the VOD has come out so hard now. I mean, between, like, Amazon Prime, Hulu's got Castle Rock. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Holy crap. So
I haven't seen it yet, but it's on the list.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. I binged the hell out of that thing.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't stop. I was just like, it's all of Stephen King right here. Everything. It was great. I actually got just the Hulu free trial just so I could watch it.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, I'll check it out. So yeah, I really want to see that. And they have it. So, that was really great. But I think with a lot of independent, movies, like, there's another director, Andrew Jones. He's from the UK. And I love his movies. He's done some really great ones. The last one he did was Jurassic. Oh crap! Sorry, Andrew.
Jurassic Predator.
Yes, Jurassic Predator. Yes, love Jurassic Predator. It was Lee Bain that is in it. Lee Bain has been in pretty much every single movie that Andrew Jones has directed. And Lee Bain is just an incredible actor. He's just an incredible actor. And it's always nice to be able to, I think, kind of put that creative group together and kind of bond like a family. Kind of like what Gabriella Kaplasky has. She has her own kind of troupe. Well, a lot of it's family because her son writes and directs. Her daughter is an amazing actress. Salem pops in on movies sometimes too, and Gabriella does too. But they also have other actors and actresses that they work closely with, and their movie is on Amazon right now too. And I think being able to have outlets like that give some of these independent movies a bigger chance to be seen. So they don't have to just sit there and censor everything. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's that they have that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't.
Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, we don't have as much VOD over here, but it's getting there, and I think we're getting Amazon soon. So,
yeah, we are.
It's in the making. That's the thing, because the States is just so much, platform to go on, while, I bet it's like that in a lot of parts in Europe. I think England is probably one of the few that has, a lot of it, and Germany maybe. But, we don't have as much stuff, and our movies come out, way after things hit DVD in the States. But, we try to keep it alive over here, even though it's not as big.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some trouble with the next movie I'm going to be doing.
The No Zone one?
No, after No Zone, I started writing a new one.
Ooh.
It's called Mr. Cox.
Okay.
Oh.
I know, everybody's like, oh, wait, what? It's basically about a school principal who finally loses it after, the wife's cheating, children hate him, superintendent is just coming down on him, teachers are talking behind his back, students are just torturing him, and finally one day he loses it and locks the school down. He goes on a little street killing with an axe.
Sounds awesome.
Guns are too boring.
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah.
There's no talent in it.
Yeah, no, anybody can point a gun.
Challenge. There's no challenge in it.
Yeah, it's no. So basically, while you're watching the movie, it's okay, do I root for the guy who's just been shit on so much, or do I root for these asshole kids? It's who am I supposed to root for? I'm just so torn.
Just everyone's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
There are films like that, but I think I like that because then you kind of try to find the good in every character.
Yeah, absolutely. And with it taking place, I think here in the States, because it seems like once a month we have another school shooting. That's probably exaggerating just a little bit. Literally just a little bit. It's absolutely ridiculous, all the school shootings that we have here. It's incredibly sad.
Yeah.
It's incredibly sad. Children should not have to worry about getting shot going to school.
Oh, no. Ridiculous.
There are,
American government just won't see what the problem is.
No, I've heard, well, the teachers should be armed.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
Do you think those kids can't get a hold of that gun? I'm sorry, but I was crafty when I was 16. I could get into some shit. So
a lot of those, kids could overpower a teacher, no problem.
Easily. and then you're looking at a teacher who's suddenly put in a position where I have to grab a gun and shoot a child.
Yeah.
And that's just something, I'm not against the Second Amendment for people to be able to, bear arms.
Yeah.
I live in Louisiana. I see guns all the time. Here, if you carry your gun outside and on your hip, it's totally legal. But if you have it like
hidden
in a holster underneath your jacket, then if you don't have a permit for that, then that's illegal. I'm like, how does that? I don't understand that, because I know up north is definitely not like that. If you saw somebody walking around with a gun strapped on them,
no, I've never seen that. I mean, my time in Jersey.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy to see that, but I also don't think that people need the semi-automatic guns to go hunting. No. Let's go deer hunting with a military grade gun. Who wants a duck?
Go get the classic bow and arrow.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand that people are afraid in this country right now. There's a lot of fear, and it's really, really sad. And I definitely have thought about just up and going, but that's not going to help the problems that we have here.
No.
I think that people standing together and showing love and compassion towards each other instead of trying to hate each other, because it's the hate that is driving us apart as a country.
Yeah, hate breeds more hate.
Exactly. So also I'm getting all political. But
talking about politics and whatnot, I heard you had some current projects going on with some charities.
Oh, yeah, I do. With children, actually. I'm doing a fundraiser, actually. If you're on my regular Facebook page, or if you end up friending me on it, I am doing a fundraiser for No Kid Hungry, which this is something that's so important to me. It's such an important cause and such an important charity. It's about helping children, making sure children are getting fed through what's going on in our school systems now. They're cutting back, and there's not school breakfast programs, lunch programs. Sometimes schools had dinner where they get like a brown bag for dinner. So there are children that are going to school and not having the opportunity to eat. And instead of being able to focus on school, they're wondering where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah.
And 1 in 6 children in the United States right now are suffering from hunger. And it's absolutely atrocious. No child should have to worry. There's 2 things. They shouldn't have to worry about going to school and getting shot, and they shouldn't have to worry about going to school and not knowing when the next meal is coming from.
No.
And No Kid Hungry is great. Right now, I am trying to raise $3,100 by October 31st. If you can't get to my donation or my little fundraiser on my Facebook, you can go to nokidhungry.org. They have it set up where you can donate, where you can volunteer. They also have these restaurant nights where there's certain restaurants that you go to, and you can tell them that you're eating, and whatever, there's a certain part of proceeds from your meal goes towards No Kid Hungry. And I think it's just an amazing program. And, you know, if you have a child who's not able to focus on school, children are, they are our future. Like, it sounds so cheesy, but it is true. You know, I know that I can't think straight if I haven't eaten all day, you know. I'll get hangry, you know, I'll end up with a headache, and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I totally forgot to eat.
Yeah.
I need to do that, you know. And a child not being able to do that, how are they going to be able to accomplish their dreams? You know, so that's something that I'm very passionate about. Because when I was younger, I come from a very large family, very large. If you count everybody in, I believe it's a total of about 11. And I'm the oldest.
Your immediate family?
Yeah. Well,
Shit.
step half full.
Yeah.
All adds up to 11.
Wow.
And so we went through some tough times, you know, and there were those programs in place, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for how I was raised, because there's been times in my life where, well, for one thing, I love going to thrift stores. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love it now. You know, that's like one of my favorite things ever. It's like
always
going to
find
thrift stores.
Something weird.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to find. It's great. But I also see some people from a younger generation who are like, you won't catch me dead in a thrift store. It's like, you've lost, you have no idea how amazing it is. But that was something that I was taught early on. I was taught how to budget my money, how to watch my money, and I didn't have to worry about being hungry. You know, that was something I didn't have to worry about, and children shouldn't have to worry about that either. So I'm very passionate about that. And there's also another charity that I'm also very passionate about. It's been started by Nathan Forrest Winters. It's called We Are Their Voice. And basically he has, it's to take a stand against child sex abuse, especially in the film industry. Nathan was molested for 6 years by Victor Salva. And and he was sued by Francis Ford Coppola, and he went through hell. He went through hell. And you know, I know currently he has not like gone out of his way and trash talked or anything. He's turned down a million different interviews. And I've had the pleasure of getting to interview him and Connor Fraser, who's actually directing the documentary. I think Nathan just had to get to a point in his life where he felt comfortable enough to be able to do this. But with We Are Their Future, and it's we, the letter R, and then their voice, they really want to raise awareness and provide education and, you know, just educate people about prevention, you know, so that way this isn't happening all the time. You know, and there are those just pedophile rings out there. They're everywhere, you know, and him going into schools or things like that and talking to people, you know, it's just so very important. And especially with, like, you know, everything that's come up over the last year, from the Me Too movement to just everything. But imagine being a child and going through that, and I mean, Victor Salva he sat for 3 years in prison.
Yeah.
He sat for 3 years after raping a boy for 6. And then Disney hired him to make powder. So
it's fucked up.
It's super fucked up, especially that they just fired James Gunn, for making comments about pretty much that a decade ago. And it's just like, really? He makes a few jokes and you fire him after a decade. But you hire pedophiles.
Convicted,
Convicted, and I won't even buy Coppola wine. I was actually pretty mad when I bought grapes the other day and I opened it up and it was sponsored by Disney. I'm like, really? Disney just has his pockets lined from everybody. So, but when dealing with stuff like that, the only way to bring awareness that it's not okay for that stuff to happen, it's not okay in the entertainment industry to abuse people, to sexually abuse people, and use your power to do that. The only way to really try and stop that is to hit them in the wallet. That's the only language that they know.
Yeah.
By not going to their movies, by not watching them, renting them, things like that. I don't believe that people just need to be crucified. I was pretty happy when I read the news today that Bill Cosby got convicted, and
I don't know that.
Yep, he was convicted, or he got his sentencing done. He's already been convicted, and they gave him 3 to 6 years. So he'll probably get, a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is so messed up. There's people that will end up serving more time for selling weed or something like that.
Yeah.
But raping women, year and a half, you're fine. It's absolutely ludicrous. So, but bringing that awareness to people, and especially with children, letting them know that it's not okay. It's not okay to do that, no matter what they promise you. Because Nathan was in the movie Clown House when most of this was going on. And to be told that you're going to be blacklisted and you'll never act again because you spoke out, it's horrible and it's scary. All of a sudden you find something that you love and you want to do, and all of a sudden it's like, well, put up or, you're never going to have a career. And it's disgusting. It really just makes me want to vomit. It really does make me want to vomit. Thinking about how many people's lives were affected by this, or are affected by it, and are still being affected by it. And how many children are out there right now that, haven't been able to speak out or anything. So,
I mean, it's a hard subject. I mean, it's also hard for kids who don't really know what's going on, because there's plenty of people who they don't understand what's happening because they don't know what it is. And I don't know, I hate people.
Yeah. There's a lot of assholes out there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of assholes out there, and that's where people like Nathan,
he's make it better.
Yeah, he's using the experiences he went through to try and help make sure that another child doesn't go through the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's amazing. You know, he could have chosen not to do something like that, but he chose to try and help other people. So in my eyes, that's a hero.
Yeah.
You know, so trying to help save another child. So and those are pretty much two big charities that I'm really working on right now. I have a lot on my plate, but I am gonna switch it over. Actually, I'm gonna be co-hosting on the Kettle of Fish. My show's gonna be on the Tin Can Media Network, so I'm super excited about that. I love everybody on that network. They're great. I just love them. And I got asked to help do the Halloween special. Yes,
well, you can't do a Halloween special without Mama Creepy.
Exactly. Gotta have Mama Creepy on the show. So I'll be co-hosting with Saucy on Kettle of Fish. So that's gonna be fun. And my show, Mama Creepy's Corner, is gonna be premiering on October 7th. And that's going to be with Lloyd Kaufman and Gabriella Kapaski. So, yeah, I'm trying to find. I've been trying to find somebody in like the paranormal community. I have a lot of people that are on my social media network, all of the platforms. So many platforms. But I want, since I'm down in Louisiana, there's so much creepy stuff here.
Oh yeah, all the voodoo,
you know,
and whatnot.
Yeah, and I would love to. I actually live about 45 minutes from it. It's a plantation, and I really don't go to plantations because it just
fucks with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not okay to still be making money off of that. So, but there's a place called the Myrtle Plantation, and it's famous. It's one of the most haunted. Yeah, it's one of the most haunted places. I don't know in the world, but I know it's one of the most haunted places in the country. And they will do on Halloween. They'll do like seances, and you can rent a room there and things like that. But even in New Orleans or in other areas, there's lots of just eerie things, So I'm thinking I really want to try and find somebody who is in the paranormal community that would like to come and kick it with Mama Creepy and go do some spooky investigating, for Halloween.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun. So, yeah, it'd be great.
Thank you so much. I think I have to cut loose now. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
No. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I've really enjoyed this a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I know we had some difficulties trying to kick it off, and I apologize for that. But
that is the nature of the business.
Yeah.
And technology sucks sometimes.
It does.
That's why I'm always like, can you hear me? Are you sure you can hear me?
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, ladies.
Yeah, but I really respect you, for all that you do for the horror community and just, everything that's on your plate with the charities and your filmmaking and the podcast and the promoting. It's ridiculous. And I can't imagine what it's like, but
I'm really looking forward to your films and to the podcast. Going to be great. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Let us know when it comes out so we can promote it as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. I definitely will. You guys are great. I love the bitches of horror.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We love Creepy Mama. Mama Creepy, sorry, yeah.
Creepy Mama Creepy.
Yeah.
Trust me, you could take it the other way. It might be a little different. Creepy Mama. I don't know about that.
All right, thank you so much, and good luck with everything.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.